Welcome back to Just Joshing with Jakota. I'm Josh. This is Jakota. Today we're continuing the conversation left over from last week where we were talking about, we were starting to talk about mischievous things that we had gotten into.
Right, or whatever. So it could be anything
Like
that was
vandalism,
right, or
stealing.
right, anything. Okay, so I was thinking long and hard about this one. We got to bring this back at least 20 years. When Dave and Mike and
Our brothers
worked at the shop.
They're much older than us. Our youngest older brother is 10 years older than me.
Right. Okay, so anyways, so they worked at a shop, big shop. It was in the middle of...
Sorry, hold on. One of our brothers is 2 years older than me, and then it's 10 years older than me, and then it goes up from there.
Right.
Go ahead.
Thanks for clearing that.
It's just for people who don't know.
Right. So, they used to work at a shop that was way
I remember this.
Way out in the sticks.
I loved going there.
Right, yeah.
Eating all the cheese in the fridge.
Yeah, eating the cheese, and then I really liked using that fast orange soap just because it smelled delicious. It was like I could eat my hands, you know what I mean? It was great. Once you've been there for hours and hours and stuff, you kind of get bored and stuff.
Even though you're so excited to go there.
I loved it, right? There was There was big equipment and
skidders and
all kinds of stuff.
Bunchers, because it was a logging company.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember their motto on the back of the hats. On the front it said the
Right.
logo for the company, and then on the back it said tree hugger.
Right. Oh yeah, it did.
I didn't get it at the time, but years later I was like, wait a minute, it's a joke.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm what? This was before I was even 10 years old, so I'm pretty young, right? So I'm playing. This is when I went by myself. It was me and Dave had to work on some stuff, and it was taking forever, right? And for some reason, the toilet was inoperable, okay? And I'm there for the whole day, right? And like you said earlier, there was cheese involved, right?
And
so
we ate all the cheese all the time, and there was always so much of it, in little packages.
Right. So there was no bathroom, and I had to take a really big dump, okay? And there was no toilet that I could sit down in the shop or whatever. So Dave goes, and I was holding it all day because I was like, okay, well, I'm sure if I hold it all day, I can go home. And which was far away. I was ambitious, right? I was like, I can hold this, right? Until I couldn't. Okay, I couldn't hold it. I go, man, I gotta go poop. And Dave's like, oh no. So he gives me this roll of blue shop towels, right? And he goes, all right, just go out back. And
was I there?
You weren't. I don't think you were. Maybe you were. Maybe you weren't.
Okay,
I don't remember you being there.
Okay, go on.
Okay. So, I go outside, okay? And I've never shit outside before. This was new to me, right? I've never done
this. Not a caveman.
Yeah. So I got this shop towel in this hand, and I'm clenching hard, okay? I'm clenching, right? It's groundhogging, it's coming out. And I'm like, okay, well, where, right? Because all Dave said was, yeah, just go outside. And I'm like, okay, well, I've never done this before. There's no trees anywhere. There's just open field, and everyone can see me. So I'm like, all right, well, whatever. The weeds were this tall on me too, right? I'm running through the bush. I was like, okay, no one's around. So I'm standing there, right? I'm like, do I sit on the ground? Do I lay
just
down
flat on this?
Does it squirt out or something? How do I do this? So I'm going, okay, well, I gotta go. Pull down my pants to about my knees, right? And I'm like, okay, well, I can't squat. I didn't know how to squat. I didn't know what this was. I was like, okay, well, if I go like this, I'm just gonna shit in my pants, right?
Man, talk about starting off the show dirty.
So I have the shop. I baseball glove that stuff. So I go like this. All right, man. It's now or never. Take a big deuce in my hand, okay? And now I go, what do I do with this? Okay? So here I am, a little boy in a field, standing with a big turd in my hand. Okay, what do I do with this? Okay? I'm looking around. Well, I was taught not to litter. Okay, what do I do with this clump of paper towel?
Dude, real quick, I think he gave you the towels to wipe with, not to shit in.
Right, right. No, absolutely. Right, but when you have no one to guide you to shit standing up, right? You kind of don't. You have nowhere to. I don't know. Your brain's going. You're like, I gotta poop. I don't want to poop my pants. What am I gonna do? All right. Well, obvious reason is if I don't want to shit on my pants, I'm gonna have to just poop my hand, right? So now it's in my hand, and I go, what do I do with this? Well, I can't throw it on the ground because someone's gonna find it, right? So I go, all right. Well, I guess I could throw it. So, what I was around was, you know, those like modular, like movable offices, I guess.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And you can just pick it up. It's like a trailer.
Yeah.
And then there's whatever you. This was in the middle of that field. Okay. I'm going. All right. Well, if I just throw it, no one's gonna look in this direction, right? So I got this. Okay. Think about this. I've been holding this all day. Okay. So it's a big turd, even for an 8-year-old or whatever, right? So I got it in my hand, and my head's racing. What do I do with this? So I thought the only logical thing to do was throw it. So that's what I did. Well, and I threw this, and I was like, "Oh no!" It went right on that right on that mobile office, man. Blue toilet paper and all, right at the top where I couldn't reach it, or I couldn't like throw a stick at it, or like I was like, "Oh no!" It's like sliding down the wall. I was like, "Oh no!" I'm done pooping because that's all it was being one big long turd, right? Pull up my pants, and I'm like, "Okay, well, I don't think anyone's gonna notice that." Right? I'm reassuring myself. I'm 8 years old. Yeah. Okay. Well,
they don't even use these offices.
Yeah. Right. I'm like, I'm in the middle of the field.
These are for when they're in camp.
He told me to shit outside. So I don't speak a word. I don't speak a word of this. Okay. I go back. Okay. Feeling guilty as all hell because I just shit on someone's. Like that's someone's property, right? But whatever. I give the shop towels back to Dave, and I. Never heard anything. No one said, "Hey, who shit on the wall?" or anything. Like it was like no one. I guess they never saw it. Like big blue, freaking whatever shop towel. There's no way they didn't see it. There's no way they didn't. I'm pretty sure Dave probably
like saw it, took out the power washer, and washed it off.
I don't even know what was going through their mind if
he's probably like that ass.
Like how do you? He threw it on the wall. Why would he throw it on the wall? All this field and he threw it on the wall. My aim was terrible, bro. I went to throw it straight. It went freaking right. And splat. So I vandalized accidentally someone's work office. Who knows if anyone was even using it.
That's way worse. Way worse than what I did. I mean, what I did in the eyes of the law would probably be worse because it was not private property like that was.
Right.
But if I was the person who had to clean up what I did versus what you did, I would be like, okay, definitely I'm cleaning up what Josh did.
Right.
His is annoying, not disgusting.
Oh, man.
But what I did was intentional. I wanted revenge.
Right, because someone did you dirty or what?
Yeah, okay, so I used to... Okay, actually I have two stories. Okay, so, and they're both the same thing. And I did them both... Okay, so we used to work at a spot, and we got laid off.
Right, we did.
We got laid off hard and unexpected, and very... what would you call that? Like...
Unprofessionally?
Yeah, let's say that. That's putting it politely. So we worked at this fast food joint, the one with the cowboy hat, and we always got Christmas break, which was like 4 days or something like that the store was closed.
I don't know.
And then when we came back, when we were supposed to come back, he said, "Yo, take some extra days off,
Oh, right.
and then come back."
Right.
So on the days back, I remember us walking in, and it's all new staff.
I remember because I went in on a Friday when he told me to come in on a Friday, and that's when I found out that there was
New staff.
New staff.
They were all like, not that there's anything wrong with Filipinos at all, but they were all Filipinos. We were replaced by Filipinos because they could pay them way less.
Right.
And they came like as a work visa or something like that.
Right, yeah.
Right? And they used to do that a lot here, and now it's way less because of certain labor laws or something. Could be the economy too. But at the time, I mean, we saw Filipinos working everywhere, and it was fine. It's just because they now took our jobs. Like when I heard about people, they're taking our jobs. I'm like, shut up, you racist. Like, relax. They're not taking our job. And then I'm like, wait a minute.
Well, it's not like
they took my job.
They're not.
They're not taking like.
They're not taking.
They're taking unskilled labor jobs.
Right, exactly.
For the most part.
Yeah,
unless they have degrees, but those people are usually Canadians.
Yeah, and when we want those people, get out of here, you skilled doctors.
Yeah, no, these were like they were to replace us for bottom line basically.
Right.
And which in the end, whatever, doesn't matter now. It sucked at the time because I needed that job because I had rent to pay and all sorts of things, right?
Right.
So I was like, what the heck? So eventually, he gave me longer than he gave you.
Oh yeah, I was let go as soon as
He gave me 2 weeks. So I had to find a job. So I'm finding a job. I finally get a job at the pizza joint.
Right.
And the pizza joint, I was a delivery driver. Okay? And doing pizza is simple. You just have a car, you drive it to the different houses, and you come home or come back to the store.
Yeah, just go home. Yeah, I'm not going to make it into work.
I'm not going to be able to make it back into work.
Yeah.
Dude, we got orders. We're like, sorry.
No.
I was the only delivery driver after a certain hour. Okay? And so then it was very busy. Because I had to take like 6 pizzas, 6 orders. And like I drove my Mustang. Gas guzzler, man.
Right.
And
wait, didn't you have a different car with that blue one before the Mustang? Or at this point, it was the Mustang?
At this point, I was just driving the Mustang because I freaking loved it.
Right.
And I was just like, you know what? I don't know why I'm always wearing these lead shoes, but I would be ripping.
Right.
And since I was the driver, usually they get tips.
Right.
And sometimes they don't. And you can kind of judge why someone does or does not give you a tip. Sometimes their order's late. Sometimes it's wrong. Sometimes it's this. Sometimes it's that. Sometimes, and this was somewhat rare, I'd like to say, but sometimes it was because the person was like, delivery driver, screw you, you lowlife.
I wonder why.
Get a real job, you
why that
bum.
is.
Because people are assholes. So, this one guy in particular, okay? Now this is leaning into our story with the fast food joint there.
Okay.
This one guy in particular, for whatever reason, I don't know what it was, but he didn't tip me, and he was like, you could tell just by his look of disdain on his face, like, can't believe this kid.
How would they get the food to their house?
I don't know, but he paid on card. And so you have like a tip option on there.
Right.
Or you can bypass it. But if you notice, when you go to a place that wants you to tip, you have to press like 17 buttons to not tip.
What the heck? Yeah, it's like you gotta go through a maze.
Right, they try to guilt you into it. This one didn't have that.
Are you sure?
This one didn't have that exactly, but it had like tip, no tip, and then it had like 15%, 10%, 25%, whatever.
I'm okay with tipping like independent businesses and stuff.
So
like that.
my tips I got because we didn't have a delivery charge. So I only got my hourly rate, which was the same as people working in the kitchen, which I'm using gas.
Right.
So the tips were supposed to be for that. So
right.
That's what the justification of tips was, because a lot of places you have to, at least here, you have to tip out everyone.
Right.
But since I was spending my gas that I didn't get reimbursed for, I got to keep all my tips.
Right.
And I needed them, especially since I was driving that car.
Right.
Because I was wasting gas.
Right.
I mean, I was still getting paid. I was still making decent money for what I was doing for a living. But anyways, so this guy doesn't tip me, and I decide, all right, because you could just tell he was just like, probably closed the doors like, I didn't even tip that loser. Like, good, he's a loser. I don't know what his actual words were, but you could just tell. And hopefully I wasn't wrong. Because what I decided to do is take all of my tip money from that day, which was probably like $70 or something. And I bought eggs.
No way.
Okay, a dozen eggs is like $4.
I think it's cheaper than that.
Oh, you know what? We buy organic eggs, so they're probably...
It's like $3. Like
okay, whatever it was. I spent all of it on eggs.
What?
All of it on eggs. I was just like, okay.
And the cashier wasn't like...
No, they were. I bought all the eggs in the 7-Eleven, and he was like, what are you doing with these? I was like, oh, I'm having omelets. Just so, because if I say I'm going to go egg someone's house, he can't sell them to me.
Well, really?
I was a kid.
Right.
So he's like, he knew what I was doing. But since I told him I'm making omelets, which I learned to do this by when I egged someone else's house when I worked at the Yellow Arches. Because we went out and egged someone's house who, I can't remember what he did, but he did something to one of our coworkers. So we egged the crap out of his house.
Nice.
And that guy there said we were making omelets. So I knew to say making omelets this time. So I was like, making omelets. Because he's not law enforcement. He can't do anything. He can refuse to sell to me. He has that right. But I told him I'm making omelets. So he sells me 9 dozen eggs. I go to Superstore, which is a grocery store out here, and I buy as many eggs as I can. I go to this guy's house. I recruit 2 of my friends. Because I can't...
Wait, was this in the winter or the summer? Or?
This was in the... probably... It was summer because I was T-shirt. So,
okay. This happened at night?
At night, yeah. Okay. So this was after my shift, and it was probably around midnight or so. Okay? It was before Superstore closed, which was at 11. That's when I got them. I may have even got the eggs while I was still working. I can't remember exactly. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I had a bunch of eggs. So I get 2 of my friends. One of them was our mutual friend. And one of them was his friend who I was just starting to become friends with. And I'm like, hey guys, this guy didn't tip me. They're like, yeah, let's do it. I go to his house. I have like, I don't know, 4 dozen eggs. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, dude, we got to throw these like 6 at a time. So like 2 eggs per hand, right? And so I'm like throwing 2 eggs. He's throwing 2 eggs. He's throwing 2 eggs. And we're whipping them. And it's making hella noise, dude. Because we're hitting windows. And it's just like poof, 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 poof. And no lights are going on. So I'm like, okay, maybe he's not home. Open another carton. And I'm whipping. We mashed his house.
Wow.
And no other houses, because that's an asshole move. But I'm not about to egg a random person's house.
I'm just the person that I want to egg, just him.
Well, I mean, he deserved it in my mind.
Right.
So his house could have been part of an omelet. It was just egg, dude. It was disgusting. And if it egg. It has, I don't know if it's acidic or what, but in the sun, if that starts to, it'll bleach the siding.
No, I've seen that, yes.
Yeah, so have you ever noticed a house with like a weird splat?
Yo, our house had that.
Yeah, it did.
No way, I couldn't figure out what that was.
Yeah, so.
Interesting. Whoa.
And you know what's funny? The people who egged our house that you're just mentioning right now, I did the same thing to their house, but with like 30 dozen eggs.
Good.
I had more eggs than I could carry.
Those guys were not good.
No, they weren't. And
you know what? It's funny how like justifying you or like,
dude, I was like a vigilante.
Right. That's so funny.
Right.
That's so they deserved it. I know that.
Oh, they did. Yeah, and I egged all their cars. Hopefully, they don't see this. I mean, it's a long time ago. It was years ago.
How are they gonna even know?
And what I did, because they had cameras, because we used to be friends with them.
Right.
And so I knew that they had cameras. So what I did is I just poured it over my hood. It just had a little, and I just, because they did that to our brother Ken's truck. They put an egg on the hood. But luckily he saw it when it was still night out, so he washed it off. I believe that's what happened. I could be wrong, actually. but they just cracked an egg on
Right.
it.
Yeah, no, I remember Mom telling me that. Actually.
Yeah, so I can't remember how it didn't damage his vehicle, but anyway, so I did that to all their cars, and these guys were rich, right? They had hella nice cars. They had a Camaro, they had a Corvette, they had like some other kind of nicer cars, and I was just like,
man, the vet.
right? And then they had that truck that they always bragged about because it had a Corvette engine in it.
Right.
So I did it to that one, and then.
Man.
And I just put them on nicely, so they knew that it was us, but they couldn't prove it.
Right.
Because they did the same thing to us. And it's not like they're going to be like, hey, son, did you do this to the neighbors? Because look how neatly they put the eggs on our cars. But then we splattered their house. Then we booked it up the hill because lights came on almost instantly.
Really?
Yeah. But they had a second story, so they were all upstairs sleeping. So they're probably like, "What is that noise? Is it hailing?" Because we just, wow. Then,
Dude, the adrenaline you must have been feeling.
so we ran up the hill, ran down the trail around their house,
Uh-huh.
and went around and then egged the back of their house.
No way.
Yeah.
You were like
Through the trees. Dude,
full
yeah, we had lots of eggs.
artillery right there.
And yeah, I actually forgot about the story, but you brought it up that our house got egged. Yeah, so I remember the neighbors telling Mom that they were getting new cameras installed. And they do have new cameras installed. If you drive by their house, you can see there's more cameras. I mean, it's years and years later, but the cameras are still there. And I mean, their kids are grown up and moved away now, but like, I was so I didn't live at home anymore.
Right.
So they couldn't even, like, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
I drove out there
Right.
to do it.
Right.
And then,
wow, that was your mission was
yeah, this was another time though. And this was probably inspired by the time. But going back to working at the fast food joint,
right.
I was like, these people laid off all the staff.
All the staff. Right.
Except for one lady
who was
there for like 10 years. Remember the lady in the back? Yeah.
I loved her. She was so sweet.
Yeah. So she didn't get laid off, but probably because she was close to retirement or something, or probably she would have done some legal shit.
Right.
Like, we didn't know anything.
Yeah, we
right?
were.
So we were just like,
naive.
we were
didn't know
kids, right?
anything. Yeah.
I'm sure we could have done something because
We absolutely could have. What are you talking about? We could have.
Oh, definitely. And I bet you, since we worked 11-hour shifts, we could have gotten back pay for all that, for not getting overtime. But we never did. We never did anything.
No.
We could have totally done that.
We could have.
But we didn't. Too late now.
I wonder why the older staff didn't tell us.
Yeah, I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense.
Because we worked 11-hour shifts. I would work there in the morning working drive-through.
They must have assumed that we were getting compensation or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
I mean, I've never... now I make more money. But as a kid, dude, I was balling.
Right.
I was balling. It was pretty intense. So anyways, we do a little, let's call it a scope of the restaurant.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so I know when they close, but it's lit up. There's a gas station, there's a bingo hall, there's all the highway traffic that's right there. It's right off the highway.
Right there, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, what is the best solution? I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do all of the easy stuff first. I take some eggs, handful of eggs. I put them in the air conditioning.
What?
Don't crack them or anything because I want them to rot and stink.
Ugh. Right.
In the shell, they don't stink so bad, but eventually those are going to break down and then it's going to smell
Horrible.
nasty.
How many did you put in there?
Probably a handful, probably like 4 or 5.
Nice. Okay.
And then I go down and I wash the windows. I smear it.
Okay. This was at night?
And then, yes. And then I remember this. Okay, this is another egg story. Okay.
Man, I didn't know you egged so many places.
Dude, I was a bad kid.
That's crazy.
But I only egged places that I thought deserved it, except for this one place. I just thought it would be funny if I egged this one place, and I regret it. Remember that establishment, we'll call it, across from our elementary school?
Yes.
I egged the crap out of that place.
Right.
I splattered only the windows, though. It was a brick building.
Right.
Only the windows, and I remember kids that in the high school that Ashley went to still were talking about that. They were like, we had to clean it up. And they're like, good thing we didn't get the bricks. And she told me this, and I'm like, oh no, because they had cameras, and I didn't know that. But they didn't know. They couldn't find. How would they know it was me? Like, they don't know who I am.
Right.
So they were so happy that they only had to clean the windows. They didn't have to clean the bricks because I didn't get the bricks. I only got the windows, and I hucked them like at an angle so they'd be like,
nice extra.
Yeah, like dragon wings, man. Just and then but I knew that at the fast food joint, I was like, I knew this then, and I was like, okay, it's gonna be harder to clean it off the stucco. I'm just whipping it, dude.
How come I didn't know about? I didn't know that you did this.
I didn't want anyone to know. I mean,
I didn't even hear about this. I never even.
You've never known this?
I've never known this. I've never.
Dude, I've egged the crap out of. Well, you didn't work there anymore.
Right, but
neither
that
did
doesn't
I.
mean that the news wouldn't have traveled.
Yeah, I guess it could have, because I worked at the pizza joint at this point, and then I was like, okay, I egged this dude's house. I may as well get revenge on the place that basically just let us go for no reason.
Right.
And I was just like, okay. I know that it's going to be hard to wash off the stucco, and I know that the windows, it's mostly windows. It's a fast food restaurant. It's mostly windows. Put it in the air conditioning. I tried to do as much as I could.
Right.
That's basically the worst vandalism I've ever done, I think, that I can think of. That was, yeah.
I wonder.
That was repetitive, anyways.
I wonder if these people that got egged by you even thought about, was I an asshole? Did I deserve this?
Well, I'm hoping the pizza guy, because none of his neighbors were hit, and he had. You couldn't count the amount of egg splatters that were on his house. They were merged, dude. There was so many. I was amazed that he didn't come out of his house.
That's so weird.
Because we were there for like 3 minutes throwing eggs. Like, usually you're like 5 seconds and you're booking it.
Right. Huh. That's funny. That reminds me of, so I've never egged anyone's house, but there was one time when I had this friend that had this person that he had. When you have homies, you gotta like, it's you stick with that homie and you have their back, right? That's like bro code or whatever, right? You got my back. So unfortunately, this guy is an asshole. The guy that recruited me to go along with him to go, he had like 3 eggs. He was like, hey man, I hate this guy. You want to come with me and throw an egg at this guy's house? And I was like, in my head, I'm like, okay, well, I don't hate the guy, so I'll come along. I'll watch, right? I'll be there to support you by watching, right? So we go to this dude's house that this guy doesn't like, and the reason that he didn't like him was unknown to me. It was something stupid. It was real dumb. This kid had beef with a lot of people for real stupid reasons, and I.
Wait a minute.
Backed him up.
Is this who I think it is?
Probably, yeah.
Dude, that's the same kid who I recruited to help me egg the pizza house.
That makes sense, right? Yeah. So this guy.
We're not friends with him anymore.
No, long gone. So I have a drink in my hand. Okay.
Okay.
And that's all I have. I'm sipping on my drink. I can't even remember what it was, but it was delicious. And it was wintertime. It was a large McDonald's drink.
Oh, so it was in a paper cup.
It was like
It wasn't like a mug.
No.
Or like a travel mug or anything.
It wasn't a bottle. It wasn't something.
Okay.
That it was. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, it was just a flimsy cup, right? And so we're standing like right outside his house. This is the middle of the day. Okay, we're not wearing masks. We're wearing clothes, our faces are exposed, and we're outside this guy's house, okay? So, I'm there, got my drink, and they're like, okay, you ready? And I'm like, hell yeah, do whatever, right? Like, I'm waiting on
whatever.
Yeah, I'm waiting on you guys, right? Like, get this show on the road, right? And I was like, should we hide? Or like, we're right in the middle of the road. Like, there's no bushes, there's no, like, we could literally probably have hid behind the fence. Or hid behind a car and then whip something or something. Nope. We're right in the middle of the road, okay? We were pretty much on his doorstep, okay? all of a sudden someone whips an egg, right? Without even anyone saying 1, 2, 3, or hey, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's go hide and then throw it. It was just right, and in the heat of the moment, it was like right. There was 3 eggs, I believe. It wasn't very much. It was like, and then for some reason, okay, I felt the need to do something as well. Okay, so all I freaking had was my drink.
I'm just gonna watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought I was gonna watch, right? And for some reason, I thought
mob mentality.
I thought that I was, I mean, I was obviously part of the problem too. Like I went with them. I encouraged it.
Yeah.
Right. Like I was just as guilty. So I was like, I must have thought like, well, They started booking it and I was not, right. Like I didn't think that I was.
I just
stood there, right? And
I
was
didn't
like,
do anything.
Wait a second. Oh no! So I whipped my drink at the dude's window. It explodes. It got way more than any of the freaking eggs did, right? This is a large, like, red soda. Like, throw the eggs. Oh no! For some reason, I whipped it. Splash. I book it, right? We're cackling like witches. Right? Just running out of the room. Yeah, he deserved that, blah, blah, blah. Yo, he goes to school. We go to school, like, we were in the same class with this dude that this guy hated, right? So, I don't know what exactly happened. I felt bad because it was like, first of all, I don't even hate this guy. I don't even have a problem with this guy at all. He was a quiet kid, so I think I never understood the reason behind the beef, but I felt bad and yeah, just unnecessary. I never should have done that. But that was, I guess, that is another form of, I guess, vandalism, right? When someone throws your drink,
right.
That's kind of shitty.
And you know what sucks is that it's not even his house. It's his
no,
mom and
it's
dad's
his parents,
house.
right? And who has to clean that, right? Not him. Like, how are they? Son, did you? How do you even explain that?
Now the house that I egged, our neighbor-ish, the whole family were assholes. They were they were enablers to their kids who I wish we could talk about because, but so I'm glad that happened.
Right.
They hired someone to clean up their house.
Yeah, probably. They must have got paid. Like
there were so many eggs, dude. There were so many eggs, and they owned the house beside it, and then now they own the other house.
The blue one as well? No way.
No. They own the house on flanking both sides.
Oh, okay.
They own both those houses.
No way.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know if they're trying to take over the neighborhood, the street.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they're because they rent those out or whatever. So they deserve. In my mind, they had deserved. There could be anyone who could say they didn't deserve that. Mm-hmm. To me, they did. I wouldn't do it again.
Right.
I don't do that anymore.
Right.
There's like a. I mean, we talked about karma earlier. Mm-hmm. How you kind of let that. I don't really believe in karma, so but sometimes it's so satisfying to just watch something like that happen. I wonder if any of the other neighbors heard about that and they were like, karma.
Right. I wonder,
I wouldn't doubt it.
I wouldn't doubt it. Right. Some people just radiate bad energy, and you just know it.
They're not good folks, and
folks.
Not that they're evil. They're not evil. They're just they don't mind making other people's lives harder.
Difficult? Yeah. No.
Right?
I agree.
Dude, yeah, there's doesn't matter. Right. It's over. I won't do it again. I'm sure if I saw them now, grown up, it would be a little different. I still wouldn't like them.
No, I don't. I don't think I'll.
I couldn't like them.
I don't have room for that kind of.
Yeah, me
right.
neither.
Like, why am I going to go out of my way to? I mean, you know what? That's actually weird, because in some situations, I feel like there is a need to go out of your way to right a wrong. But I feel like in this instance, there's no reason to say anything to any of these people that
these people shitty. In particular.
Right.
Well, I mean, I just, I don't know. There's a lot that a person can do because there's always misunderstandings too.
Absolutely.
Right? Because you can just be like, you can say or react to something, and it's not what actually happened, or it might be what happened, but they've had a change of heart or whatever. Like, there's so many different situations, like, because they could be sweethearts now,
Right.
which is funny because I remember one time one of them said, "I'm sure your boys are sweethearts," when they tried to pin something on us. Because I remember this was one of their friends who they like, yeah, dude, I don't know. I got to stop talking about that. It's too much of a tease that we can't actually talk about.
Right.
But now in my life, if I see someone who's an ass to me, or I think is an ass, sometimes I'll say something. Other times I'll let it go. If it's online, usually I'm like, well, why do they get to say something? I don't get to say something. That's not fair. If it's in person, if I'm like, if they're like, if they're huge, I'm gonna be like, America's an asshole, right? But if they're like, if I'm not like, if I don't think they're gonna do something physically, like, because there's like you can
pretty much
you can have a conversation and resolve things. What you're saying, yeah, you can pretty much tell if someone's going to do something, retaliate. If you have, like, it's easy to be an asshole, so it's best to try to take the high road.
It's better to be the bigger asshole, so then that asshole will
stops being an asshole.
Leave you alone, right?
Well, I mean, that goes to like bullying. You don't if they're bullying, that's one thing. But oftentimes people are like road rage. They're probably perfectly fine people. Right?
Yeah, until they get on the road.
But, like, it's just heat of the moment.
Right.
You know, someone cuts you off. Like, that's your life. You could have died, possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, probably not, but you could have.
Right.
Right? So then you just get, you're like, oh, this
right.
This son of a...
Have you seen some of these videos where people literally get out of their vehicle, knock on the door, or even straight up open the door and start wailing on them?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's road rage, dude.
I can't even believe that happens. Like, I'm so mad at you, I'm going to get out of my car and punch you in the face a couple times.
Yeah. If I was at fault, I would get it, because I've been at fault a few times. Like, the other day, I accidentally changed my mind in the middle of what I was doing. I was going to cross the highway, and then I was like, no, I actually need to turn left. And I was like, why did I do that? Because I could have just gone across the road, and then it would have been fine.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe next week we can start talking about, like, misunderstandings we've had. Like, if we thought, like, one thing and then another thing, what could have been avoided, this and that.
I love misunderstandings.
Right? Because there's so many times that you can just be like, oh, this guy's a jerk. Mm-hmm. I can tell based on what he said, or based on what he's doing, or based on what I heard from X person, right?
Man, like
and then it turns, yeah, exactly. So if we can think of some examples, maybe we'll pick that up. We'll have that as our homework for next week. I think that could be a good conversation.
Yeah.
I want to stop this conversation by saying that we don't condone vandalism or theft or anything like that. Like
most of the time.
We have some most of the time. We have some theft stories that are kind of funny that we may be able to explore in the future time. But like anything that harms another person intentionally, who definitely does not deserve it, or even who does deserve it, you shouldn't do that.
Right. There's always
let
there's
things
always
be.
A different way, I think.
You can handle things a little. I mean, we were kids when these things happened,
right?
And you're not thinking about consequences. You're thinking about getting even, right?
Revenge is sweet when you're
right. I mean, in your case, you just needed to take a dump and you had nowhere to go. You're like, oh, I'm not a caveman. What do I do? Oh no, splat!
It was like, have you ever seen those people throw the first baseball at like a game?
Yeah.
Just suck.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. If you can imagine, 50 Cent, I think he was the one that threw a really whack ball. It's like does like the pitch stance and like just the weakest ball.
He's like, yeah, well, have any of you been shot?
Yeah.
9 times? No, I don't think so. So, it was shot me in my throwing arm.
Yeah, shot me in the armpit. Now it just screws with my...
Oh, man. So, yeah, anyways, guys, if you want to know what we're up to in the meantime, check out our individual social medias and channels. We'll have all that stuff linked in the description. We'd really appreciate you checking out that stuff.
Yes, so thank you so much for hanging out. I guess we'll see you next time.
Perfect.
Nice.
Dude, yeah, I already have some stuff that I'm going to talk about next week.
And there were so many times where, yeah, I stole and this. It's like, oh shit.
And we cursed a lot.
Yeah, we did.
Maybe we'll put like a curse notice at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah. Or just be like curse counter so that it's funny. Right? See how many times we curse?
Yeah, okay, I'll do that.